All right, let's see how everything looks. Looks good. Right on. So, hey everyone. We're gonna do some Adobe Animate today. And what we're gonna do is something that is it's something that I did as like one of the first things I ever did in Animate or Flash Professional when I was first learning it. And this is way back when Macromedia owned Flash, right? So I dug up a couple things here. Oh, first of all, welcome to the stream. Please say hello, chat, all the rest of that stuff. I do keep an eye on that. And yeah, my name is Joseph Lebrec, and I have been streaming on behalf of Adobe for Education as a featured Adobe Education leader on Behance for since August, I think it was, of 2020. So it was an effort that we started during the lockdown phase of the pandemic, the early days, and I've kept with it for quite a while. You know, I've been thinking about whether I should still keep doing these regularly or not, right? So they've been doing good lately, but I do have a number of additional things going on. So I've got a LinkedIn Learning course that I'm working on. I've got a book that I'm co-authoring for this year. And both of those things sort of need to happen very soon. I also am, of course, wrapping up the semester. We're past the midpoint. We're almost at spring break. So that means that I need to get... I need to focus a lot on wrapping things up when it comes to stuff at the university. So, with all that in mind, oh, and I'm teaching what we call a Maymester course. And that is a summer course. It's a condensed course that it's basically like every day for like 3 hours for 3 weeks during May. So I've got, between that and, you know, my regular stuff and the book and the LinkedIn Learning course I'm writing right now, it's a lot of stuff. So I think I am going to take a hiatus after the stream today, and maybe I'll be back in June. But I do have additionally a whole bunch of work that's going to be done on my home, which is where I stream from. I'm going to build out a proper office, and I'm having the entire main level renovated and a bunch of rooms put into the basement and things. So a lot of stuff where I'm probably not going to have the space to do a proper stream. So actually I might be on hiatus until like fall. So this might be a long time thing here. So I'm just letting everybody know I've updated a couple of stuff on my Behance profile, my live stream schedule and everything. It's just too much to juggle right now. So I figured, why not end this particular streak with Adobe Animate, since it is so favored by myself. So I thought the best way to do it, let's resurrect something from the past. So let's have a look here. I've got this FLA file. I'm going to open it up right here. And as I open it, it tells me, of course, in Animate, that ActionScript 1.0, so that's how old this is, it's no longer supported in this version of Animate. It's going to set to publish as ActionScript 3.0. ActionScript code is going to be removed. Excuse me. So let's say okay and open that up. Now, I did open this up earlier just to kind of see like what kind of state it was in. Now this was either created in the year 2000 or the year 2001. So it is quite old, and it was done in Macromedia Flash 4 or 5, one of those two. So this is something I did in graduate school. And you can see I've at least named all my layers properly. I've got a mask that I'm using. I've got sound in here. The big problem I noticed is that whatever font I actually used, which I don't recall what font it was that I used, it has reverted everything to Helvetica, unfortunately. So I can't figure out what font I use. Like if I, well, yeah, I tried, but it's not, and I wasn't smart enough then to actually go through and embed my, my fonts inside of Flash at the time. So we're left with this. So this is kind of what it looks like. Oopsie. So you can see we've got letterforms, and they should look a lot different than this. And it goes down. Now, there is some ActionScript code somewhere. Yeah, winter 2001, okay? So there we go. There is ActionScript code somewhere in here, but again, it's been removed. So, yeah, no scripts. I thought it was ActionScript because, and it doesn't show it here, right? So if I open up the Swift that was generated back in 2001, I'm gonna open this up inside of Flash Player. So here's the actual Swift that was rendered back then. Again, since I don't know what font it's choosing for this. It's really weird. You can see there's elements in here that do not exist in the FLA. Like this weird snowfall and everything. So yeah, things are looking a little better in the Swift, but still it's kind of relying on the font being included, which, sorry, I don't have it. Let's hide the mask. And yeah, if we choose any of the big floating E right here. See, it's changed everything to Helvetica. And I do not think, yeah, there's no real indicator on what font was used. And again, it removed all the ActionScript 1.0 code from this. So what are you gonna do, right? But anyway, this is the this was an assignment from graduate school as I was learning Macromedia Flash. And the idea behind it was that you would use letterforms and animate them to sort of create something, right? So that's kind of what we did. Yeah, I don't want to save that. So I was thinking, let's recreate that today in some fashion inside of Adobe Animate 22 years later, right? Wow. I can't believe it's been 22 years since I made that. That is crazy. Anyhow, let's go ahead and start doing this. And I actually have in the past for some of my classes used something kind of like this where you use letterforms to sort of portray an emotion inside of Photoshop or Illustrator or something. So it's something that you can, you know, it's definitely an interesting and useful exercise. So that is the restriction, is that you can only use letterforms. So what I'm going to do is find my type tool, text tool here, Adobe Animate. Obviously, I love Animate. It does not get nearly enough love from Adobe. Yeah, I've got my new book up there. Mastering Adobe Animate 2023, and above that is Adobe Creative Cloud Classroom in a book, which has a whole chapter on Animate. So, and there's an Animate Classroom in a book too, which I serve as a technical reviewer for every year. Anyway, I like Animate. So let's go ahead and let's change our stage color to something a little more colorful. Nothing crazy, but a little more colorful. What is this? March. So actually, St. Patrick's Day, right, is coming up. Feast of St. Patrick. So let's do green. There we go. So I'm a little tiny bit Irish. I don't know how everybody else falls along that spectrum. It seems like oftentimes on St. Patrick's Day, almost everybody is a little bit Irish, right? But I'm a little bit Irish. I'm 3/4 French, and the rest is kind of split up between like Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and a couple other things, if I remember correctly. All right, so what do I want to make? So letterforms. Let's go ahead and let's use an L, because my last name begins with an L. We'll start with that, but I don't want to use Helvetica, right? I want to use something a little more stylistic. And that is hideous. Gosh. I don't know where all this Noto comes from. I've got all these fonts on here called Noto, this and that, and I swear there's like 50 of them. So I would love to get rid of those if they're not useful for anything, but Peachy Keen. I always tend to go to Peachy Keen for stuff. It just has a really nice kind of like organic flow to it, you know? Peachy Keen is one of my favorite fonts, especially when working inside of Animate here. So something I should have done back 22 years ago with Serenity Perturbed was to actually break these things apart, right? So select the text, Command B breaks it into a shape. So I now have a shape that I can deal with, and I don't have to deal with worrying about fonts the next 20 years, right? So I'll just name this L. It tells me exactly what it is. Then I can go through and do something like this, right? And of course, there's nothing to say that I can't skew or otherwise transform this particular object. Right? So there we go. We've already got something going on here. It's not animated yet, but that's okay. Let's go out to 2 seconds and pop a keyframe in there so that we can create some animation. I'm going to select some of these frames here and go ahead and no. I want to create a shape tween because we're dealing with shape data. And what we're going to do is maybe start out this a little bigger. So if we lock this down, play it back, yeah, we got some basic motion here, right? You know, there is no other... I mean, there's plenty of stuff you can do in After Effects, right? That you can do in Animate. You can replicate sort of some of the workflows. But there are some things you absolutely cannot do inside of After Effects. At least with the same workflows, right? After Effects, I find, I mean, I love After Effects, right? But After Effects, I find actually, you know, a lot of the stuff that you'd want to do, you would need to install like certain third-party plugins. It's very plugin dependent for a lot of things, which, you know, that's not the best approach, I think, to doing stuff. I mean, look at XD, right? XD was very reliant on plugins. They were kind of like, yeah, we don't need to build that into XD. We can just have third-party developers do it. And where's XD now, right? So one of the nice things about After Effects, of course, is that After Effects has a lot of third-party plugins that come shipped with After Effects. So a lot of the plugins you use natively are actually third-party that you use in there. And yeah, there's plugins you can use for Animate too. So plugins aren't always bad. I mean, I've authored, you know, extensions for Adobe Animate, the audio playback extension. So like if we go to, let's create a new file. I'm not sure if I even have it installed on here because it's been a number of years. But if I go to web, just make sure it's an HTML5 canvas document. And then if we go to our components here, oh geez, oh, I do have it. Awesome. Yeah, so check this out. So we've got our different components for HTML5 canvas. And by default, you have user interface components, things like buttons and labels and lists. You've got a video component, which is a video playback. And you have some weird random jQuery stuff, right? This is my component right here, an audio component. The icon's a little compact disc, and the way you use it is you have to go into the parameters. So if I go to component parameters, here it is. You can see we have a number of different parameters that are exposed here. So things like auto playing the audio, what the source would be of the audio, whether it starts out muted, whether it can loop or not, preload, and you know, giving it a class that you can target with CSS and so forth. So that is my contribution to extensions inside of Animate. I actually have a Pluralsight course that goes into how that all works, how to build those out. But I don't author for Pluralsight anymore, and I haven't for a few years because of poor decisions they've made around the creative community. So I am strictly LinkedIn Learning, lynda.com when it comes to that area, which again is part of why I'm going on hiatus after this stream today, is because I need to focus on my LinkedIn Learning course. I need to focus on the book that I'm co-authoring. Yeah. All right, so back to it, right? That's enough chit chat about that. Let's create a new layer. This layer, so what are we gonna do for this? Peachy Keen. I don't know. Let's do one of these guys. And this doesn't look as fun, Peachy Keen, you know? Let's break it apart. And we can just use the, oops, Photoshop shortcuts there. No thanks. So yeah, Peachy Keen for this sort of thing doesn't look all that great. But what I'm gonna do is have this drop in. So we'll start it around there. Again, let's create a shape tween. You know, people think Animate is so difficult to use. Animate is not difficult to use. It's all about timing and getting the timing correct for these different things. Oh, I can't use that character. I'm sorry, Animate. Did I hurt your feelings? Let's call it a V. Actually, why didn't I use a V? Because a V would make more sense. You know what? I don't even care. Just manipulating these a little bit. Again, these are all letter forms. That's the main stipulation with an exercise like this. Oh, hello. So I've got Yogan and Zamali. Hope I said those correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. As I often say, my name, Labrec, is often mangled by people trying to say it. So I completely empathize and sympathize with those of us who have harder to pronounce names. Here we go. I've got an idea now. So it gets to this point where you've got like a story that comes up, even with something abstract like this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this little sprout. Well, it's a comma right now, right? But for me, it's going to be a sprout. Let's break it apart. Use my free transform tool. I'll just place it down there to start. And let's shift that keyframe over to around frame 20. We'll insert a secondary keyframe way at the end and create a shape tween between them. So what I'm going to do is have this guy come up like that. And let's create a bit of a different shape with my sub-selection tool here. It looks like a fiddlehead, right? Fern. Hello, Ellie. How are you? Yeah, that's cute. I like that. I'm pretty good, thank you. Although, as I mentioned before, I am definitely feeling a bit of crunch right now. Let's shift these guys over. I'm going to extend this animation. It goes a bit too fast, right? So I'm going to bring it out to 5 seconds. Let's do a proper preview. Okay, cool. And I'm going to further manipulate some of these points here. I want this to show up sharper. And over on this beginning one, do kind of the same thing. And what's going to happen is it's going to sort of like, you can see it sort of shearing off, right, that edge. And of course, we can use this trick too, right? Ooh. I like to add variability into the forms. Hello. Friend. What happened? It's not letting me manipulate the form. Oh, because I'm on the wrong keyframe. Joseph, please. Please. There we go. And here we go. Yeah, it's got even more of that shear now, which is kind of cool. Let's change this too. Let's All right, what is this? Fiddlehead? Or it's a comma, really. Whatever. Let's make a manipulation to this. Start it out kind of that, and then it'll settle. Yeah, so as the fiddlehead comes up, it sort of settles back down. And I think I need a little bit more kind of manipulation to the rotation here of this sort of fiddlehead. So this little white guy, so I'm using the free transform tool over here. If you're not used to animate, this little white circle in the middle, this is our transform point. So wherever I place the transform point, if I rotate, right, it'll rotate around that transform point. So I want to place it down here, because then I can rotate it out in different ways. Oh, look at that. It totally got all weird on me. That's what happens, you know? Let's go 50%. Why? So one thing you can do when something like that happens, right, is let's actually just put outlines on for everything else. So one thing you can do in the case where, like, watch this. So it's confused, right? It's trying to tween between these two shapes, and they're just drastically different. So it's like trying to find the biggest shortcut between the two. So one thing we could do, of course, is just change it like this. But you can see that doesn't quite do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert what's known as shape hints. So I'm going to say insert, or modify, shape, add shape hint. Here's shape hint A. That'll go right there. Modify, shape, add shape hint. Right there. So these are basically like pins that you can place in a shape to control how they morph from frame to frame. So again, modify, shape. Oh, add shape hint. So let's see. I mean, hopefully, this will be enough shape hints to direct how I want it to go. Here's C, B, and A. So I'm basically like trying to direct. See? There we go. The shape hints, they sort of tell animate like, hey, when you tween this thing, I don't want you to just like do whatever. I want you to do it in a very specific way, right? I want you to kind of like pay attention to these points, A, B, and C. And I want you to actually have those conform to one another, to pin them between keyframes. And there we go. So at the end, actually, let's set this. I'm going to insert some more keyframes there. I want this to slow down quite a bit towards the end. Let's go out to 6 seconds. I'm going to select all of these, and instead of a classic ease, I'm going to do an ease out. Just do a basic quad ease out. And then additionally, I'll put another second, or maybe 2 seconds, of just still content, right? Whoo! What? What have you done, Joseph? That's not great. I think my shape hints got goofed up there. Look at what it did. It does a little somersault. Yeah. So I'm gonna imagine. Oh, interesting. So shape hints actually came a bit displaced, which is odd. Let's fix them. Strangely, we don't have, I mean, I don't know why there are not shape hints there, because we need them, don't we? Cannot add shape hints. It's probably because it's we don't have a shape tween, right? Although they're not showing up even here. Modify range. Nope. Shape. So we're doing A, B, and C again. And we're going to cross our fingers and hope this actually works. So C goes down here. B goes up top. And A. See, that's not good. I don't know why it's not working, but oh well. I'm not going to struggle with it. All right. Is anybody else tired? I am very tired. And so, let us begin the hiatus. I am going to sign off. I may be back in August, September, something like that. I don't know. But thank you everyone for coming today. So, Igan, Zamali, Ellie. Thank you. I may see you again someday.